This is what $180 a week gets you in an Australian country town.
The wall's actually furry. There's a fair bit of mould on the walls, no window. We've had, stray cats come in and, I wouldn't be surprised if people have come in as well. There's quite a big hole in there. When it rains, this whole area is wet.
Emily and Brad are desperately trying to find a nicer place they can afford.
We've asked for repairs, but we just keep getting told, yeah, we'll get onto it, we'll get onto it.
Yeah, it's a health hazard, so we're hardly here. Here as little as possible.
In the city, things aren't much better. When Penny McCall-Howard's agent flagged a rent increase, she asked for some repairs to be done first.
We'd had water leaking in over an electrical box and then into our bedroom and other parts of the house whenever it rained.
Within days, her family was evicted.
We were completely stunned that was the response. We'd lived in the property for 5 years. I was on maternity leave. I was getting ready to go back to work.
When Penny took her case to the local rental tribunal, the agent said the landlord was planning to move back in, but less than a month later, the house was re-advertised for rent.
I was furious. I mean, we had just had to completely uproot our whole lives at a really difficult time.
Situations like these have prompted calls for minimum rental standards across Australia.
The balance of power, unfortunately, is really heavily weighted with landlords. So people can be evicted for making complaints, and they know there'll be someone right along behind them who'll rent that property.
South Australia and Tasmania are the only states which require rentals to have basics like heating, hot water and weatherproofing, meaning everywhere else, the poorest people in society are basically expected to put up or shut up.
Their power, if you like, to choose homes that they can rent which are of high quality are really constrained by their financial circumstances.
Just knowing that there's no cracks in the wall, it's not going to make people sick, that'd be good.
Last week, a Bureau of Statistics bungle revealed the number of people buying their first home to live in was at a near record low and far lower than anyone realised, meaning many are being locked out of owning a home. 2 decades ago, about a quarter of all homes were rentals. That's grown to almost a third.
If tenants raise any problem, the agents can just chuck them out of the house without having to give a reason and without tenants really having any recourse to protect themselves.
When Anthony Zeibel started a website for tenants' complaints, he didn't expect there'd be quite so many of them.
We've had well over 2,000 reviews left on our site that are still active today. The problem isn't just about landlords or property managers who do the wrong thing. Part of the problem is that the legislation simply does not go far enough to protect tenants.
He says the great Australian dream of home ownership is partly to blame for the treatment of tenants.
Overseas, we've recognised renting as a perfectly legitimate life choice, and it's certainly something that we shouldn't hold against someone.
The protections for tenants in Australia are the worst that I've experienced. I've rented in Scotland, in England, in Canada, in the US. I've never had this kind of a problem before.
Emily and Brad's place would need a ton of work to meet the proposed standards, but Emily has another idea.
Probably a bulldozer.